South Meeting House, despite their differing political beliefs. We also have another very well-known figure, and that would have been Phyllis Wheatley. Have people heard of her before? Yeah? Well, for people who are not sure who she is, Phyllis Wheatley was kidnapped from Africa when she was around 7 or 8 years old, and she was brought to Boston aboard the ship the Phyllis. Upon arrival, she was purchased by the Wheatley family, who then proceeded to name her after the ship that kidnapped her, and they intended for her to do domestic labor in their house. But they were also Puritans, and they believed that everyone should be able to read the Bible. And so, they taught her to read. And upon teaching her to read, they quickly realized that she was a prodigy. She picked up on language incredibly quickly, and so they also taught her French, Latin, philosophy, and when she hit her teens, she would start to write poetry. And she was a really good poet, so much so that upon going to London, she was able to get a book of poems published, making her the first female African-American poet to ever be published. She was so good that the city of Boston actually created a committee to decide if she'd actually written her poetry, because they could not believe a black woman could be so smart. They did eventually decide she wrote it, though. And so she would go on to, she would be freed, but then she would, without the backing of the Wheatleys, be able to reach the same level of acclaim as she did while under the tutelage of the Wheatleys. But she did worship here. She was baptized here when she was 18 and would go on to be a full member here. But we also had other lesser-known members of this congregation who were still important to our history. A lot of people are surprised to find that enslaved people were welcome in these churches. Now, Puritans did believe that everyone should be going to church somewhere on Sunday, regardless of who you are. It was actually the law. But we have members who did choose to be part of our congregation, and they did not have to worship where their enslavers were. We have records of a man named Scipio Gunny. He was a member here while he was enslaved, along with his wife and their 7 children. He, upon freeing himself, would choose to